Last week, I think it was last week, I got huge loss. Probably years since I have something like this, and it was not because I didn't place a stop physically or psychology. I was just not paying attention, and I did a mistakes. No connection to this, but it got me the idea that I want to examine more the stop, and I know that students that I'm trading with have some issues, so let's develop it. As the famous Mike Bellafiore said, real traders use stops. So if somebody tells you there's no stops or it's a bunch of bullshit. What we're going to cover in this session, the importance of the stop, we're going to go over those topics. Why do we need a stop? Psychology of stop. How to determine the location of the stop. Scenario after we create a stop. Is the stop flexible? Types of stops. What can happen if you don't have it? What can happen if you have a stop? And definitely we're going to finish with example from trades, which you're going to see the variety of stops. So why do we need a stop? Because stop is part of your trading plan. Trading plan is no stop. It's not a trading plan. It's a gambling. Because the assumption is, again, if you have a playbook, if you have a type of trade that you do, that encourage you to take this trade, but nothing is 100% guarantee. You can be wrong, and it's okay. And the only thing that control you from the disaster is your stop. Now, the psychology of this is when you have a stop, you know exactly your risk. And risk management is crucial for every phase of you. If you just start, if you're developed, if you're professional. And when you know that you trade with a railing, meaning you have a teaser, you have an idea, but again, can be wrong. What can prevent you from catastrophe? Definitely is the stop. So when you think about it, it's gonna calm you down, because I know a lot of people are getting really fear from pushing the button, and it's like they're entering a dead zone. It's not. Whether you have a stop and you have sizing accordingly, it's fine. How do we determine the location of the stop? You know, a lot of people said it's gonna hit my stop and then it's gonna move and blah blah blah. And I'm not getting even right now to physical stop in the system or in your mind. It's all about going back to the first thing that we talked about. What type of trade are you doing? Which type of stock are you dealing with? Each stock has its own characters, like sometimes, because you're trading, start to be like I'm trading with people, Each stocks for me is like, this is a crazy dude, this is a really cool guy to be with him, like it's taking slowly. So it's all about when you're planning your trade, you need to know what type of stock is this. For example, you're going to see one of the examples. What I'm going to finish is like I traded a stock, really straightforward. You can actually get a good execution, like cent, no spreads, difference 1 cent between the bid and the ask. Again, physically or in the system, if I have a stop, I can definitely put, usually I like to put like 2 cents under. I can put in the system and fine. But on the other hand, if you have a spready stock And again, one of the examples is you should take the consideration the stop in the stop, also the spreads. So for example, if you're taking like a 30 cent stop and you have like a 5-6 cent spread, definitely you should, again, in the system or not, take at least like a 35-40 cent stop, because if not, the spreads can kill you. And again, sometimes it can kill you and then do the job. Scenario after we create a stop. First we can fail and I can hit the stop, like the trade is not developed as I want to and it get to my stop. It's fine. And you can go back to my channel and look for, I think, the previous trade of the week, this one or before that, I put under a link to my session on second chance. I can be wrong and it's fine, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to leave the stock if it was on my radar before, because this is why sometimes you need a second and a third try, okay? Just because you lost doesn't mean that you need to throw it away. Still, lots of people interested. If it's good R volume, if it's a good, catalyst, definitely you should still be there, even though you took the stop. Definitely take. Again, if the trade is going well, there's nothing to talk about. Is the stock flexible? Definitely. But with reason. Again, you're gonna see one of my examples on Uber. As the trade develop, part of the trading plan is also developing in the stop. And it's not like I'm telling you, as I got into a trade, I'm raising the stop to the entry. Bullshit, that's not true. As long as the trade develop, the partial area, whatever, what type of trade I'm doing. If it's scalp, if it's a move to move, if it's a swing through the day, if it's a momentum opening, really. Sometimes it's about the formation, sometimes about just, the high or the low of the bars. Again, you should, everything that I was going back to the beginning, everything starts with what type of trade are you doing. Again, this is really interested people. What type of stop are you putting in the system? So, for example, I told you there is variety of answer. Momentum opening, trades that I'm doing sometimes in the first minute, two, whatever. I'm not putting in the system because the way I'm trading it is differently. I want to see the rhythm of the trade, and if the rhythm, if it's change, definitely I will be out. If I'm trading, let's say, lunch or whatever, and I'm in a trade, and again, not so much spready, I'm not going to sit and waste my time, so definitely I can put a stop, again, according to what I told you. If it's spready, if it's not, if I'm putting under my stop, a few cents or a little bit more. If the trade develop, for example, I have a scenario for this. I'm in a trade, it's developing, I'm like 15-20 minutes, no partial, no nothing. Again, I'm trying to go to 15, see if I have a change something, and I'm starting to lower my risk. Maybe I can take some portion partial, but definitely I'm raising my stop because, if I'm there like for a certain time, no partial, still full risk, no reason. So sometimes I can take some profit or start raising my stop. What can happen if you don't have it? You can fucked up everything. Really fucked up the day, and even for the rest, meaning you can lose a huge amount of money just because you don't have a stop, and then from psychology point of view, sometimes you can't go back mentally, because sometimes the loss can be huge, because if you don't have a stop, you expose yourself to everything, and maybe you were in the wrong place in the wrong time. So, and the easiest way is, stop. You lose exactly what you want. Again, you can go back, or just lost that you can handle it. And again, if you have a stop, and you know that, trades can cause you to lose, but again, you lose in spoons or in bucket, whatever. It depends on how much your risk is. But I like the thesis of losing spoon, earning buckets. So you can wrong. Again, you can go back to your DLC daily report card, see whether you had to go in or not, whether your stop was in the right thing. But at least you have a control, and that's the reason why you do stop. It's control, because prevent you from emotional, from fake ideas of maybe it will come back, maybe we are dealing with true. We are dealing with plan. We are dealing with reason why I'm getting in, and this is not a lullaby story. Again, everything need to be, it's moving, partial profit, great. If not, lost, move on. Now, before we summarize everything, I want to show you 3 trades that I had 2 days ago when I start preparing the lecture, and I think they give you the variety of type of stops that you can have. We're gonna have examples, 3 different type of trade, 3 different type of stocks. Uber, good opening, really good one. Not a huge mover, but a good one. I was just watching this, and I was watching this retracement. Now, this is what I saw. Again, you could see consolidation around here, around the V-up. Okay, game plan. Around this level here, which is around the 50-ish. And high of the day was, so it was like 30 something cents. Not a big mover. That was my game plan here. I'm breaking the view up here, and I was waiting to see the 50. Oh, I just confirm. I gave it only 5 cents. Not the low of this candle, just 5 cents, because the type of trade that was relevant here was a scalp. Really. Small stop. 1 to 6 plus minus if I'm getting to the high, and if not, I don't have patience. This is not a trade that you are waiting. You're gonna see trade that I'm waiting. So again, when you have a momentum, what you're gonna do here is just see the rhythm of the trade. Really good candle, really good candle, really good candle. A little bit side move around here. So I think around 74 or something. Took 3/4. Okay, now mental stop was 5 cents here. What happened after that? I could definitely feel that my mental stop gonna be here under the low, because again, for this type of trade, and I'm going, I'm getting here to the high. You see 87, got exactly 88, and then you see under here, boom out, last quarter. That's it. Again, the stop is part of the trades that you're doing. Another trade I was on my radar again, one of my pre-market. First trade was pretty straightforward, above here, and my stop was around here. Again, it's a spready, but again, it's enough comfortable, getting, whatever. Still last quarter, retracement around the view up. Now this is the tricky one here. 76.50, view up, 50 cents. but I knew just because of the spreads, I'm not gonna put inside, but I had, V up is an area, because you see what happened here, got to 95. Again, I won't put 95, 98. So if you want to do it in the system and you can see that you have like a 5, 6, 7, definitely around 10 cents under, you could actually place the automatic order, around 89, something like this, and you have like 60 cents. Again, high of the day was around here, but again, there was a good R volume and I was ready to, to get this trade, move pretty nicely, and again, I'm not getting out immediately out. The last quarter, again, 9 EMA, same rhythm here. Under here, 78. The low was around 60. I gave it like 50 cent stop. And so as we go through, sometimes it depends on the character of the stock. If it's spready, you have to read the spreads and you have to include this in your stop. Last trade, tricky one, and this is for the what are you going to do, whether you have, somebody asked me, whether you have spikes and something like this. Tesla kept down, but immediately I could see that there was higher low while the market was going down, so I was waiting to see, the pullback. That was my game plan. Take some size here, and if I'm breaking this level here, full size. Taking here, 160, 180, 40 cent stop, okay? See what happened here. And again, you have to take this in consideration. I was half position. It did a move, and then, because we are on the V-up, what happened? It give you a big spike, almost double the risk. If it was going from here under, what I could do, place my stop here, and fuck off. That's it. But what happened here after, again, around here I add, and again we broke, it got to the high, but you could see that there's no momentum, so definitely take the partial, raise your stop, and this is again part of the trading, but what you need to know about the stop is exactly what you could expect. This is a spread, this is Tesla. It's not Uber. Uber, it's like a really nice turtle going. Even the execution in Uber, 51, sharp. You could get really good price, you can control the stop, but when you have spready, definitely you need to take into consideration that one. It's okay to be frustrated, it's okay to take a few minutes to rant, but now what are you going to do to get better? Will you turn that frustration into fuel to do the work? That will make you a better trader. Or your answer will be seen in your future P&L. Mike Bellafiore. If you're interested in getting better, trade live with me, make a risk plan, trading plan, email me. Main focus going forward. Stop is a part of the trading plan. It should be major characters in determination whether we are going to take a trade, risk reward. If the stop is too big for my destination, maybe it's not a good trade. Not maybe, it's not a good trade. Stop can be a system or in our head. I use physical stop, I use mental stop. It's all depend of which kind of stock, which kind of time of the day. As the trade develop in, stop should also depend on the type of trades that you are making. Again, we have a plan before. As we get into the trade and the trade develop in our favor or not, or just time passing and nothing, definitely the stop should be part of your decision. Without a stop, you're exposing yourself to major psychology hazard. That, as I was mentioning, sometimes you can go after that and let it go. We need to crush our limited beliefs.